So I guess we can go ahead and do Fire
I was gonna say
Force.
your man's got his
Um.
moment. He got a bigger moment here than he did in the
Oh,
manga.
are you serious?
Yeah.
Because okay, so actually, you know what? That kind of makes sense because I remember when we were talking about this earlier, and you said that you were saying that like he doesn't really get as much like attention and shine in the show as like compared to like Arthur and Shinra, even though they're supposed to be kind of like a trio of good friends.
Right.
But this shit,
Yo, OGUN got his shit in, man.
this was. I think he had a good like 5 to 7 minutes. No, I'm not 7. He had a good like 5 minutes of just like OGUN, just like
We got
OGUN.
a lot of them.
Oh my god! Like I literally was like, I was cheesing and just like wooing and wowing at the TV, like nigga.
Had to get that basketball shot in. I forgot
Oh
about that shit.
my god!
OGUN is black.
And you know
everybody.
what? I wasn't even mad about it. I
He's
was
black.
like, yeah, give the nigga a basketball. I don't care. That shit was so like, what is it? What ink? Melty ink or something? Flamey ink?
Flamey
Oh,
ink.
Flamey. I was just like, wait a second. I love that name. Also, what is happening right now? Like, just, it was so, it was just, I enjoyed that more than I did God of High School.
Yeah,
like, I'm not even gonna
people
lie.
are going off.
Like, it was so, and I think he was, maybe, no, I wouldn't really say it's because of character building, because, like, we really haven't had that much of his, like, background or anything like that anyways, and how the hell did that nigga end up in Japan in the first place? But, just that whole scene was so good to me. Also, ironically, last week we talked about how you said that people had forgotten about that intro sequence when they talked about raffles, and they
Right.
brought that shit back this week.
Yeah, I know, that was funny.
And I was
we
like,
went 7 episodes, nothing, and now we get the recaps again.
yeah, I was like, but this was the perfect time for them to bring that shit back up. Because it's just like, well, I definitely was going to go back and like try to filter through some of the episodes and like get one of the more elongated ones. And then they did it this week and I was like, oh, hey, great.
Yeah.
I ain't going to go back.
Perfect.
But OGUN was the star of this episode. I really need Tamaki to like get an upgrade soon because, you know,
yeah, you want to talk about someone who's mid. Tamaki is mid.
Oh my god. And you know, it's a cat. I'm like, felines, like, there's so many great examples of like feline like infused or like influenced power in manga, and like she just has these tails, and I'm like, she did more in the opening for the first season than she's done in this.
Yeah, no, that's the thing.
Like, series itself.
So I don't want to be one of those people that says, well, just because I thought they could do something with a character means that they have to. I mean, ultimately, she gets relegated to much more of a side character or
Support.
comedy act, which is really all she was from the beginning. I mean, well, I'm just saying, this is what we've seen on the show. She went from, you know, they didn't have much for her to do story-wise, so then she shows up at the beginning of this season. Now she's also a nun. So,
well, I kind of felt like they had an opportunity to do something after she got traumatized by being betrayed by Homeboy.
Right, exactly. No, but let me say something in defense of this choice, which otherwise is minimizing yet another promising female character to just a sex joke. Like that, that's its own problem. But Fire Force has an issue where they have to keep adding, or they consistently are adding a lot of characters to the squad, as well as all these supporting characters, as well as all these recurring enemies. At some level, a lot of these characters either have to get full development, which is going to take away from whatever else is happening, or they have to complete an arc and then just be relegated to where, you know, as a role player in the story. Right? Like,
no, I hate that.
But it's something that kind of has to happen in order for stuff to progress. Like, what's the most important story to tell here? The most important story to tell right now is Shinra, his brother, and their connection with the Dola.
Yeah,
that's it. Everything else after that is cool, and there's tons of really other good stuff there, like, you know, Iris and other members of the team. You know, but I feel like most people get about, they get heavy involvement in an arc or two, and then they take a backseat to, the most important stuff that's going on. And of course, fan favorites, right? Like I think the author and the editors are very aware of who is popular and who is not. And the ones who are popular get airtime.
Get more screen time.
They get more, like, I would say that, like, Benimaru is someone who in the manga gets way more screen time because the first time he was introduced, it was just supposed to be like a one-time captain. He helps the main characters power up, has like a little moment, and then he's kind of done. He keeps coming back because he is consistently in the top 3 most popular characters.
Oh, on the polls.
Yeah,
God damn.
He's consistently in and because he's a really cool design. He's really cool.
Yeah.
Now the weird part is that his actual like characterization is that he's basically a Japanese nationalist, which is effectively like, a fascist. Or representing a particular fascist ideology. But they don't really dive too much into that as far as the show goes. But it's a very odd, something odd to remind yourself is like, what is the whole like motivating principle behind the Seventh? It's like it's very much like Japan in the 1940s. This idea of we're not going to bow down to the outside. Our people are the real Japanese people, and our traditions are the real Japanese traditions. But I'll let that slide because he is pretty cool. And like other characters come back, so there's just not a lot of room for Tamaki so far to like have moments after that first season. And frankly, she didn't do very much then.
I mean, yeah, exactly. That's why I was expecting more of her now. Oh well. I mean, anyway, back to OGUN. This was OGUN's episode. Like this was his. Like I actually was expecting the demon to like out of nowhere like get a good hit in on him, and it just never came.
No,
like
he just bodying him. Just bodied him.
Just handled his ass consistently, and I was like, yup, like, oh man, like this is, I don't know, it's just so different seeing a black character do it compared to everyone else. And I know it's like not for, it's not like, he put it out there being like, I got all these niggas that love my manga, so I'm putting this nigga in there for y'all. It's like, no. But it's just nice seeing that, just, it's just nice to see. I don't even know how to explain that right now. Like, it's just a feeling. It
feels good.
Like, just,
because he's cool. This is the thing, we should have a whole thing about this, but like the aesthetics of anime are just cool. That's why I'm into it, right? Like, that's why I'm sure you're into it. A lot of other people are into it. Like, yeah, there's a lot of like artistic value, and you can, generate a whole like creative discussion around like, oh, what is a medium being, the way it's read, the way it's published, the way it's produced, blah blah blah. End of the day, this stuff is money. Just fucking cool. And we got a brother up in there doing some cool shit, and he's unapologetically. His name is OGUN Montgomery. All right.
His powers are Yoruba.
Yo.
Fucking spears.
Shout out to my Nigerians. But this is my thing.
Ugh.
He's a cool character. I'm so happy that they gave him some really good animation treatment. The nice high quality stuff that can be clipped out on YouTube, and I can go back and I can watch it and be excited all over again. I think I had mentioned before that like there are parts that are being adapted now that I had hoped would get like more love than they do in the manga. And by the way, it's not that he doesn't have his power showed off, and they even like there's a pretty iconic shot of when he does Flammy Ink and he's chucking up the deuces and what I'm saying, like looking real sick, which is actually from the manga. But the fight itself, that he's having with the demon. Infernal is just given more time. So that's what's cool is that they didn't do like a bunch of filler like still shots or anything else. Like they let him get animated and punch the shit out of that dude.
Yeah, the whole like the yes, yeah. That's all I really gotta say. Like it was just good. Like that's what I want from my fucking shonen.
Right. So unfortunately, he's not as involved in the arcs that come up afterwards. But I'm satisfied with how they've treated him so far this season visually. He's got plenty of lines. He's got most of his lines from the manga, and I now buy the fact that he is friends with Shinra. I buy it. It's not
Okay.
just like, they said it and, oh, hey, what's up, buddy? Like, we've seen him interact. It passes the smell test for me. And they also seem to work really well together. We got like really cool fight scenes out of him going solo. We got to see a lot of his abilities. We haven't seen the limit of it. He hasn't had like a real serious hero moment, but like that's okay. Like he was a character we met not that long ago, so it's cool.
Yeah, he's not a main character.
Not at all.
But for him to get this kind of shine, it's just, oh man. Yeah, I really enjoyed that shit. And I also enjoyed the rest of the stuff that was going on in the episode too.
Yeah. Also, just for the folks out there who are familiar, but his name is actually also Yoruba. So.
Oh.
Yeah, I think it's a god, maybe a war god, and maybe like it's related to fire somehow. But my homie clued me in like a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
Somebody did their research when he was making characters.
Right. And doesn't this go back to the conversation we had about the Galapagos syndrome? Like how much of a benefit it is when the creators actually have time, freedom, or connections to go out and learn about the other cultures in the world that they want to bring in to diversify and just not just diversify, but just make their stuff more interesting. Because guess what?
Exactly.
I already liked Fire Force. I didn't need to be talked into liking Fire Force anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
But we have a brother here, so I'm going to stand for this.
I actually saw some people on Twitter, some like black Nigerians basically being like, yo, who is this nigga in this anime using Yoruba Forge? Like, what is this? This actually looks interesting. And then that episode came out on Friday, and I was just like, I'm actually surprised that like Twitter is not freaking the fuck out right now. Like, did they not know that this happened? But then I also remembered that a lot of people dropped this show in the first season. Because I remember when episode 19 of Demon Slayer went live, and that fight was all over Twitter, and I felt like this one it didn't have the same emotional and like music production and shit like that, but like this was like a really good showcase of a character, so I was surprised that I didn't see it all over Twitter like all Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, I don't know. I think once again Fire Force is becoming a victim to its own consistency. Like it's been a consistent show from season 1 through now, like quality wise, and I think it has like a pretty high name recognition now and popularity. But for some reason, despite the fact that I think some of the best animation that we've had for like fight scenes and so on has come out of this show. God of High School in a couple of instances, but like, I actually think the stuff in episode 4, and 5 were better than anything that God of High School had done. And then now you get OGUN. I just think that it's neither new enough to be shocking to people how good it is, nor is it hot enough for there to be like a huge critical mass of folks watching it simultaneously. I think it's just very good. And so because it's very good, like people kind of expect stuff like this. But that's my guess. I don't know.
Well, I enjoyed it.
So what do we got next?
Did you have any?